Hey everyone, and welcome to Dragonmount. I'm Thom DeSimone. Today we're going to be talking about the finale of the Wheel of Time, which is called What Was Meant to Be, episode 8. Right off the bat, I am very happy with this episode. It was an hour and 6 minutes long, including the opening sequence. They put that back in for the finale because, it is pretty awesome. I understand that they cut it for timing, but it was nice to see in the finale. Before we get too far into it, though, I want to give a big shout out to Tor Books, our lovely sponsors who help keep the lights on here, and all of the people who still support us over on Patreon. We're working to get new Patreon content out as quickly as possible to you guys. There's a lot going on behind the scenes here, especially with the show just wrapping up, but we're looking forward to making new content for y'all. And if there's anything in particular that you'd like us to dive into or pick apart, and you're a Patreon follower, send us a message and we'll make videos about it. And if you like this type of content and you want to see more of it, please give a like, a subscribe, go follow us on Twitch and YouTube. Check out our social medias. We're always posting stuff. We have our blog articles and our TikToks, Kitty, and all of our lovely authors who post on our blog. The Dragonmount team is really fantastic, and I love working with them. I think they provide some awesome Wheel of Time content. Cold open here seems to be from the Age of Legends. That seems to be a tradition now. Episode 8 is going to be cold opens from the Age of Legends, which I'm perfectly fine with. If I see 3,000 years ago, I just get extremely happy. I love to see the little tidbits from the Forsaken and from the actual flashbacks from the Age of Legends. Just those sequences are so cool, especially when they're put next to the current setting where it's, like medieval or, fantasy-esque swords, sorcery, but then seeing these more futuristic times are really, really cool. Again, now we see the Aes Sedai uniform, I guess, is these black coats with the white undershirt with the black vest. Looks great. This could just be the male Aes Sedai uniform, but I really enjoy them. Again here, though, Ishamael and Lews Therin talk about how they've already been doing this. Like, this isn't the first time they've met, and how he is the Dragon Reborn, which really furthers that theory that everyone has about this actually being another turning of the wheel. We know the showrunners and writers and stuff like that have said, think of this as another turning of the wheel, but when you see stuff like this and they say stuff like this, it really makes me think it is actually another turning of the wheel. Like, that is canonically what is happening here. So that's an interesting thing to think about moving forward as I watch the rest of this video and when we just watch the rest of the series. We know when people are reborn and things come around again, they happen similarly but not the same. It's a great way to do in-world canonical changes but still make it true to the story. And I think that's something that a lot of the people who dislike the show for reasons of just them changing things really miss. Robert Jordan was big in about, time being cyclical and things changing and different things coming about. So I like that they're kind of leaning into that with this, and I hope they explore it a little bit more. So I've been wrong about things before, but this White Cloak scene really drives home my idea of Dane Bornhold being the redeemable White Cloak here. There's a lot going on between him and his father here that speak of a slightly more progressive White Cloak than the general White Cloak. Now, I don't know if maybe they're just making it that the general White Cloak are more like this, and then the Questioners are the more hardlined, fanatical version of the White Cloak. Now, that is kind of how it was in the books, but even the rank and file White Cloak had similar feelings about channeling and being righteous that the Questioners did, not just the Questioners, where especially in the sense of prophecy, they would never even quote the prophecy would be nonsense to them. It would never occur to them to be maybe the prophecy is real, ever. So it's an interesting stance, and I'm really, really, really interested to see how they explore Dane Bornhold and his father. Well, his father probably not so much for much longer, but how they further him. Now, maybe his father dying will, if he dies, will push him to the more fanatical side for a little while, and then he'll have to he'll have to get walked back. But we'll see, I guess. I really enjoyed this entire scene. Their armor looks amazing. The setting here is beautiful. There's nothing about this White Cloak scene that I don't like. Now Jeffrem says we have something they don't have, when in reference to the 28 Damane they have. He doesn't say it, but I'm thinking he probably means both the light is on their side, but also the element of surprise, because, they don't know they're there. So we'll see. Definitely like this setup. I can't wait to see the fight here. So this was pretty fantastic. This whole Ways scene was great. The Ways, first of all, look much better. I love the way they look. Lanfear, Natasha O'Keefe, freaking fantastic, as per usual. Lanfear says some interesting things. She could see that Moiraine can channel again. So if they're making this like a power that some channelers have, where it's like some can see that some women can channel and stuff like that, not like everybody can tell, then Lanfear has it too. Or maybe it's a skill that can be learned. Like we know that the Aes Sedai of the Age of Legends were much more learned and more powerful. So maybe this is something that they can learn in the future. The way she does her hand motions is pretty cool. I like it. Also, I want to mark here, she did use her hand with her rubber band as reverse BLT. One of our guests from a couple weeks ago pointed out it does look like a rubber band on their hand. But she used the hand with the ring on it. I really want to know what that ring does. It's giving me now like that they keep traveling weirdly, like Doctor Strange vibes. Like I'm waiting for them to start like, doing the Doctor Strange opening portal thing. Which, like if you need the rings to travel, I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world. But yeah, that's interesting. I can't tell if she's being sincere or not, or trying to manipulate Rand, which I guess is the point. We know she's like one of the most skilled at, manipulation. So I'm leaning more toward it's yes and no. Like she's being kind of honest in her feelings here, while at the same time still trying to manipulate him. Like, the best lie has grains of truth in it. I think we're going to be getting more of the Lanfear, I want to kill the Dark One and rule with you, Rand al'Thor Lews Therin kind of storyline from Lanfear, more than I want to serve the Shadow or I want to kill you, Lanfear. Which, I kind of like better. It's a wild card. It's interesting. It'll open up the door for Forsaken infighting a little bit more. I kind of like it. We'll see how far they push it, though. They did it a bit in the books, but you never really could tell, if the Dark One was okay with it until, later in the books. Her blowing them out the Waygate was fantastic. She's setting it up probably, obviously they're on the shore, which is probably, it's like right down the shore from where Falme is, from the way, the sets and everything look. But yeah, really liking it. I think this is great. So knowing what's coming, or at least having the idea that Hopper is probably going to be dying soon, really, like they're drumming that up really hard with these scenes. Like, oh my God, I can't, I'm gonna like literally be crying. Like I don't know if I could take it. The Aiel look great. This vista looks great. The cityscape shot looks fantastic. Them referencing the fog and saying this doesn't belong here was interesting. You could see that kind of fog in the background in this early shot with Dane Bornhold. It's kind of like in the valley in the distance. So that's it's an interesting reference there. And in some of the promotional stuff, like way early on, like a year ago for season 2, we see the White Cloaks riding out of like a white mist. So I'm guessing they're using this for cover. We could see that Bane and Avienda here have 3 spears to Chiad's 2. So they did take the spears from Jolie's grave. They didn't leave them there. Aiel wouldn't waste weapons like that, or tools. So yeah, I'm glad that they took them. Still a little upset that they didn't reference burying the Aiel standing up, but I'll give a little bit more leeway with that until we either don't hear anything or hear something about that. I just feel like it's a fun little bit of lore to leave in, and why take it out? When Perrin looks at Hopper like this, I was like, okay. When he said stay, I was like, all right, I'll stay right here. Ugh, yeah. I love Marcus. I love Hopper. I love this whole thing that they have going on. And so here's our first bit of infighting. There's a lot here. Ishamael doesn't believe her. I mean, he genuinely looks fearful in some of these images here, and Lanfear really seems to be trying to lay on the butter thick, but I don't think he's buying. Ishamael's not dumb. I think this is the first real bit of pushback on the two of them here, especially when she says, I told him I'd help him kill you. And she basically is just like, yeah, I'm gonna. Like, he has to believe that we're not all the same, so I'm gonna try. So, like, you know, you gotta be prepared for that. Good luck. Like, that's what it seemed like there. And then they look at the other 6 seals. Importantly referenced here, there are 6. So, like, you know, they only showed 3 in some of the prior episodes where we saw this room, but all 6 are there. So that's all 8 Forsaken. The fact that they showed this lovely shot like this makes me think we're going to see in a little bit the same shot, but none of those in the same condition that they're in right now. They're going to be in a slightly different condition. So that makes me question now, though, about the boar. I'm going to wait a little bit to really dive into that, but it starts to make me think about it. This weird intimacy also between Lanfear and Ishamael is interesting. I can't tell if it's like actual intimacy or if it's just like a familiarity that they have, but it's something to make note of here. I'm not sure if they're trying to say that they were in a relationship or not, but, you know, who knows? Obviously, they're going to try to turn the dragon. That was always their plan, or that was always Ishamael's plan, because he needs him to be able to break the wheel, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, not going to be turning Rand in season 2. That would be a pretty anticlimactic ending. And I'm really hoping for this ending to be climactic. And here we have it. The White Cloaks using altar boys. I mean, that's what they seem like. I mean, this is something altar boys do in church, you know, with the incense. So I think they're really leaning into this whole Catholicism thing with the White Cloaks. It's interesting. Yeah, so and we know that the White Cloaks have these kind of like young male followers. I guess they could be squires in the camp, like from season 1, episode 2, when they had the little kids serving Valda, the, you know, little bird that he ate. We have the Bornholds riding in at the head of their little army there. Nice size force, it looks like, though. Like, that's, you know, they may have tens of thousands of troops in 28 Damane, but it's a pretty sizable force, especially to be attacking, like, by surprise. So, kind of excited to see how well they do. So, Nynaeve looks pretty good. I mean, Zoe looks great in the costume, not gonna lie. She can pull the makeup and the hair and this costume off real well. Though I'm pretty sure she'll look great in anything. Put her in a hot dog costume, she'll probably look fantastic. I love the little touch that the Damane costume looks like it was handmade recently, like it's all threadbare and stuff. I like these little details that they put in. The face of this Suldam in the collar is obviously terror / shame / you know, who knows what she's feeling right now. Based off of the things that she says here, you know, take it off me. I can't let anyone see me like this. I come back on my prior statement where maybe they did understand that they can channel. They don't. Or at least the Suldam didn't. And the Seanchan at large do not. So yeah. But this is going to be an interesting little thing because now the town's getting attacked and they're pretending to be Suldam. Pretty sure that's not going to make for good interactions with the general populace / the White Cloaks, but we'll see. And then we jump to another Damane and Suldam pair. Yeah, like this whole scene is just, it's rough. You know, like now we're seeing the honest side of Rhenna, where she's being very forceful and very brutal with Egwene. That Egwene is like, you know, exhibiting any kind of personhood here. So yeah, I mean, all of the slavery stuff is tough to watch. And I really just want to go back and reference something that Jeff from Bornhold said earlier. The important part, these people are slavers and murderers. So like, oh man, like they're making the White Cloaks likable a little bit. Like, oh, they're against slavery, but they're still bigoted and horrible. But like, I just like how they're making, like, even in the Wheel of Time world, slavery is like so despicable. Not even the despicable White Cloaks are okay with it. Even the villains don't use some of the things that, you know, people in our society use as like a pejorative. So like the White Cloaks and like the Shadow and horrible people don't use being gay as like something negative. Like they don't say, oh yeah, that's not a real man because he's gay or anything like that. It's just a thing. You know, sexuality is just a thing and no one really cares and it doesn't affect social standing or anything like that. The only thing I think it would come into play with is like, producing heirs and things for kings and queens. And even then, I'm sure there's probably ways to get around it in the story. But, they never really get into that with the story. It toes the line of burying your gays a little bit because they don't bring them to the forefront. They don't bring them to the forefront by showing like hardships like that. But at the same time, I think it's just a breath of fresh air to show a society that's just views being non-straight as normal and nothing to be like harped upon. So I like seeing it. It's like refreshing to see. Now that we're off that tangent though, back to Rena and Egwene. So she cuts her hair. Not gonna end well for Rena. This face that she makes very soon after is I think that broke Egwene like a little bit mentally. Like she's angry, sad, scared, infuriated. This is crazy-eyed Egwene. That's crazy-eyed Egwene right there. She is going to murder the of Rena. And I made a reference during one of our lives. I can't wait to see her get revenge. Egwene to get revenge. And our longtime follower in Normangarden said justice. Now I get it. I get the feeling there, but I think what we're gonna see is more in the vein of revenge, like brutality wise, because of everything that Rena has done to Egwene. And I'm not saying she should forgive her and that the way of the leaf or anything like that, but like I think we're going to see Egwene lean more toward the brutality aspect of it. And it's going to be another thing that she needs to kind of walk back as character development, as she comes into her own as a leader and stuff for her further story. And I think that's a really cool idea for them to do, like she's going to push herself and this is going to be a part of her that she needs to work on coming up, this anger and this fury. Totally justified in my heart, but like, something that a leader of people, especially someone so powerful as her, needs to like, keep in check a little bit, because if you let that go, you can end up like certain dragon riding, white-haired women burning cities down. Anyway, yeah. Losing your tongue, losing your hands. I don't think Egwene is going to be suffering those fates. I think maybe Rena might. Time will tell. So yeah, Ishamael ain't no dummy. Ishi ain't stupid. He knows Lan. So he's setting Padan Fain in motion. I like how they're kind of building Padan Fain up to be more of like a follower of Ishamael and less like a dark friend here. If Ishamael dies or, appears to have died, like he does in the books, that could push Padan Fain into like, trying to grab power or go a little crazy or whatever. I could see that pushing him more toward mid to end book Padan Fain being a little silly man. We'll see. I like how he says, I have nothing if not time, I might have to turn him in one of his next lives. Padan Fain is like, okay, he doesn't ever falter in that. So like that's why I'm thinking like he is a die hard follower here. Like he is fully dedicated to the cause. He has no qualm being like, okay, it'll happen in another life. Maybe I'll get reborn and be a follower again and we'll get it done. And he has no pushback there. Obviously he's talking about Matt. We have the dagger here. We'll see how that plays out. I think I'm going to go ahead and say I was wrong about the vision being faked. I haven't seen Min at all. There's no reference of it yet, even in their private conversations. I think somehow Ishamael knew about the vision. Maybe she dreamt about it. Maybe Matt didn't dream about it. Maybe she dreamt about it. I don't know, but he knows. And then we jump right to Matt with Padan Fain, tempting him with the dagger. He looks very like he's still under the effect of the dagger here. Like you could see him, he's like twitching and like it looks like it wants to come out. Like there's something in there that wants to come out. I like how they're doing that with this. I'm still a little meh on how they're making the dagger seem like it's part of the Dark One. There's been no reference of Mashadar being something else and corrupting Padan Fain away from the Dark One or anything like that. It's more just like the corruption in Shadar Logoth is part of the Dark One. I kind of liked there being these weird ephemeral third-party evils, but I could see how that would be confusing to a viewer, especially on a short-form TV show like this. There being like three weird corruption things like Mashadar, Machinshin, the Taint, the Dark One. Like it's and Mashadar and Machinchin being two different things than each other and two different things than the Dark One, I could see how that could get confusing. I mean, it was confusing in the books because something that they never really dive into, they never really talk about. We know that early on in the series, Robert Jordan didn't have everything fully fleshed out. So, when he came up with these concepts, he was kind of stuck with them the way they were, and he, made them into something that was unique and different, and I liked it. I always found it a little odd that the characters, especially like the Aes Sedai and the Brown Aja, never really were like super interested in how the hell this happened. Like, how the hell is there an entire sentient entity created just by human greed in Mashadar, or an entire sentient entity created by the corruption on the male half of the One Power in how they created the ways. Like, the concept of the results of male channeling being corrupted somehow while the taint was still affecting Saidin is something that's only explored in the ways. It's not explored in anything else. And any of the weaves that Rand ties off, any of the other items of the One Power that may have been created, during that time, nothing. Only in the ways. So I think this is just another one of those cases of Robert Jordan made it. It didn't really marry up with the system that he had created. So he made something up, and that's what it was. Was it something that he had the idea from the beginning that fit into the overall story? I don't think so. Based off everything we know, it doesn't really fit together. So I get why they did it. Long story long, I get why they did it in the show. I kind of like there being third-party evils. And I think I'm going to coin that term now, third-party evils. But yeah, so whatever. It is what it is. Damn, Zoe! Like, just torturing. This is rough. Like, seeing this side of Zoe, seeing this side of Nynaeve really is, you could tell it's making Elaine uncomfortable. It's even making Nynaeve uncomfortable a little bit, but she knows she has to push this woman to do that. And really kudos to this actor who's playing the Sudam here. Absolutely fantastic. Like, she looks genuinely terrified, and like, I can feel it. Just really well done. Really, really well done. Brutal here. Yeah, I think before very long they'll be marching in the streets, but pretty brutal. So I get Rand and Egwene have known each other their entire lives, and he's still kind of in love with her. Well, not kind of. I guess, I mean, he's still in love with her, and like, he's been in love with her for a long time. So like, being able to pick her out of a crowd makes sense. But man, I could not tell which one was which from that distance. But I mean, when they zoomed in, obviously it was easy to see her, but yeah, no, that was rough. But yeah, no, you could see he's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, Egwene! Like, you could see the difference in his face here. Yeah, so he's going to be going to try to save her. He's going to be a little angry. So we'll see what happens with that. So they in-world fixed the, crap that they got into with Barney leaving the show in the first season. You went back to the tower for the dagger. So like, that was what they did. Like, he thought the dagger was there, so he went for it. So I guess the idea of him feeling exactly where it is from huge distances away isn't a thing, which is fine because that was a little silly. Once they're close together, him being able to sense it, that makes more sense. Especially since he's not like super linked to it. He was already cleansed a little bit at that. So I like that they did that. So like, he lied to his friends for it. He went back to the tower for it. They're pushing that narrative there with the dagger. So we may get our cleansing scene in next season with our quarterstaff scene. I'm hoping, at least. They're doing a great job here. Padan Fain looks creepy as he's also like, you see him like, he's a little angry, he's a little impatient, but like, he really thinks Matt's going to pick that dagger up. And Matt also kind of thinks Matt's going to pick that dagger up a little bit, but he's going to try. I think he's going to resist. Also, I like the little reference to, what do you think, you're a hero from a Gleeman's Tale? A little foreshadowing to heroes from Gleeman's Tales, maybe coming up soon, maybe a little bit. Wow. So that scene was great. Moiraine and Lan there it was beautiful. Like, Daniel Henney and Rosamund Pike, just absolutely fantastically done. The bonding scene was beautiful. I love how they his bond was released. She didn't just mask it. She released his bond, which makes so much more sense. I like that they reference that and clean that up they closed that out a bit, and this bonding scene was beautiful. Like, and when she said, I mean, we all kind of knew that that was what she kind of said when she said, you know, you're not my equal, you know, you're better. Like, look at her face when she says that, like right after she says that, and then look at Daniel Henney's face, like Lan. Like, oh man, the acting in this scene with just so little anything, just standing there is palpable. I'm still tearing a bit. It was beautiful. I love this bonding scene. I love how it's intimate while at the same time it's not sexual. Just beautifully done. Absolutely beautifully done. I love the way they did this. I love this whole storyline with Lan and Moiraine and channeling and the bond. This season 2 storyline for them was beautiful, and just kudos to the writers for that, because they invented it entirely, because it is not in the books, and I think it was epically done. Just really, just 10 out of 10. Love it. Oh, wow. So first off, yeah, the Aiel marching into the fight. Can't wait to see that. But like, yeah, this gives me like, you know, action hero, or this gives me like action movie vibes of like the hero walking onto the scene right as the fight starts with the 3 of them. Well, the 4 of them, but really just the Aiel marching into this fight, about to kick some ass. I love the hand talk. It looks great. There's been some pushback in the fandom of like, you know, it not being just ASL. We know that they worked with actual hearing impaired deaf people and ASL interpreters to create a new language based off of sign language. You know, there's no right or wrong way to feel about that. I like that they at least put the attention to including hearing impaired people while creating it. Maybe they'll go further into depth into it in the, you know, future seasons when we actually dive into the Aiel themselves. I'm hoping that's next season, but you know, maybe not, depending on if they go to the iOS next season or a season after. Personally, I'd like to put out there, I think they're going to be going to the Aiel waste before the Stone of Tear. And they may be cutting Kyrian altogether when they come back out. But we'll see. Loyal dropping some freaking poetic bars here. Like, damn. He says, what of the heroes of today? Because that's what we are now. We are all the heroes of another age's legend. And it's time we start acting like it. Damn. Like, damn, that was powerful. Oh, man. And it hit all of them hard. Maybe not so much the Aiel, because they have no idea who these people are. But I think Avienda feels it. I think Perrin. I think Ingtar. I think Massima, even to a point there, feels it. That was a powerful line. Fantastically delivered by Hamed. I'm loving every minute of this. Yes, I want the Ogier to be huge and stuff? Yeah, that would be great if they could do that. But it's just not in the cards. I think what we're getting is fantastic. And Hamed and the writers of Loyal are really getting this character correct. Just really well done. This scene was... this episode just gets better and better every minute I get into it. Oh, I'm so excited. So here's the tower that we got from the season 2 sizzle reel from like a year ago. Like this, like they only built like the top like 20 feet of it, and it looks great. The CG is fantastic. The production value of season 2 has just been amazing. At first, Egwene. So here, like the fact that Maigan is right beside Egwene, like you could see, and how they reference it, not at all. Really just makes me think they've just written Maigan off. Like Maigan is just a Damane now, and like there's no saving her. They don't even like talk about her or look at her or anything. We also haven't seen Rima at all, and I'm a little worried about her. I was hoping that we would get a Rima rescue scene. Rima Rescue. Sounds like a kids television show. But yeah, I was hoping we would get, you know, a sequence of that, and it's looking like maybe not, since we're not seeing her at all. But Egwene at first is seeing like the fireballs and the destruction hurting the people, and then she notices the white cloaks, and she's like, ho ho ho, no problem, I'll kill me some white cloaks, not an issue there. She's even like, I also like how they are pushing that Egwene is not using her hands to channel. She is still channeling just with no hands. And you can see it shoots out of her chest. It just fantastic. The set design, the production, everything looks great. The special effects. I had the great opportunity, you could find the interviews over on our YouTube channel. I had the great opportunity to interview The Andres, as I lovingly like to refer to them. I'm not even going to try to butcher their last names, which we'll put up on the screen in a second. They're both named Andre, though, and they're both Czech special effects and production designers, i.e., like special effects, not visual or computer effects, but like explosions like this. And production design is like the set design and like putting physical things in the world for the actors to interact with. So the fact that I interviewed them both together was funny in the sense of one was responsible for building the sets and the other one was kind of responsible for blowing them up, which I made that joke to them and they thought was funny. And I also made the joke that whoever put the two of them together hates people with dyslexia, because they do. I didn't notice there was two people for a little while because their names are so similar. Yeah, Rena has no idea here that the only reason she's channeling is to kill white cloaks. But the idea that Egwene is kind of like resisting channeling with the Adamon is a little interesting. Like, Rena is obviously trying to get her to do it, and she's not doing it immediately, like with no issue. So the idea of the Adam acting as like a forced link where the Suldam just uses the one power through the channeler is a little watered down or different than it was in the books, because like there's been scenes where like she tries to get her to do something and she doesn't immediately, it doesn't just happen. So yeah, it's just something to look at. All right, so if no one else thought this, which, fun fact, Harrison Ford did because he had dysentery at this time from drinking the water in Iraq where they filmed this, and he didn't want to do the fight scene. The Middle Eastern guy with the sword prepared like a lot for this fight scene, so he was a little upset about it, but when he saw the final product and how funny it was, he was okay with it. But if you didn't get those vibes from this scene, then I don't know who you are. I was really looking forward to like an epic sword fight. Also seeing Turak's Room of Curiosities, which it looks like we might not see, because we have the horn and we have the dagger. We'll see. They still have to go into season 2, which I'm hoping they're still going to be here at least at the beginning. But this makes so much more sense. Like, they even call Rand stupid all the time for not channeling to like kill people or like defend himself and fight. Why are you using a sword, Rand al'Thor? Like, stop like getting into real fights with a sword. It makes sense to practice and be prepared just in case. But when it comes time for the real fight, if you don't need to use the damn sword, channel and protect yourself. Like, why would you put yourself in danger for no reason? This makes so much more sense. I like that they did it. I kind of wanted an epic Turak Rand battle. And, now technically Rand is not a Blade Master yet, where in the books, since he defeated a Blade Master in one-on-one combat, he became one in this moment. That has not happened yet. So Rand, not a Blade Master yet. Also, I like how he left the Shojin from the... his weave also looked very much like the Amaryllis Seats weave with all the knives, except these were fiery knives instead of airy knives. And he left the Shojin out because like he probably figured, a sleeve, I'll free them and they'll be happy. And then they kill themselves because only in life did they serve the blood or whatever. So like you could see he's kind of like, he's like surprised and he's like, whatever. And then he just kind of just walks past them. He's like, whatever, whatever. If that's what you're going to do, go ahead. Well, we're just subverting expectations all over the place, aren't we? I think this may be the first time I say, like, I do not like this change, like, at all. I get, so, like, the idea, the earlier stuff with Ingtar being, like, with Padan Fain, or burying the Dark Friend, they had their reasons, and, everything, like, trying to like build us up to like, the Dark Friends have reasons for turning to shadow, and maybe sometimes the reasons are, they're trying to do good, and then just to have him die without like that big redemption scene at the end of book 2. Honestly, one of my favorite scenes in the entire series. It just feels so cheap. I mean, it was a red herring for the book readers, Solo. True red herrings are supposed to be like leading you down a false trail while providing you like the true story on another avenue, where this was just a red herring for a storyline we thought would be in it and just isn't. And I don't know. I don't like it. I think if you're not going to give it to us, just don't give it to us. Like teasing us with the Ingtar storyline only to have it cut at the end. And maybe it was filmed and they cut it for length, but can no man walk in the shadow so long that they can't return to the light? It was such a great line. And I don't know. I wish we had it still. I was brokenhearted when I saw this, when he died. And, you know, for the light and for Shanoa was great. And, you know, his death was meaningful and he kind of did the same thing where he gave them time. But yeah, no, I wish they left it. I really do. This little back and forth with Lan and Moiraine is pretty awesome. You're faster than you used to be. You're thinking about Lanfear, like, and you could see he's got like a little smirk on his face. Like, oh, you're in my head again. This is great. Yeah, I like this back and forth that they have here. The reference of like, why did he wake her? And all the other Forsaken are more dangerous. Interesting. Lanfear being the most powerful, or at least in the books, I don't think they've referenced that much here, like that she is the most powerful. So we'll see. She is far more powerful than all of the other channelers, like in the current day. But like power level wise in the books, she was second to Lews Therin and Ishamael. Like it was like Lews Therin, Ishamael, her, and then Demandred was under the three of them. So we'll see. I really kind of like that they made it like that the three of them were best friends. I like that. I think it's going to make for a more poignant story going forward with them, because there was always a very distinct disconnect between Rand and the Forsaken. And like, they never really talked about the relationships other than like, oh, they were jealous of Lews Therin, or they hated Lews Therin, or they wanted to Lews Therin. Like, it was never really talked about how friendly that they were, except for maybe Samael and Lews Therin, because like he was one of the generals for the Forces of Light beforehand. But referencing the fact that they were best friends before the War of Power, I kind of like that. And I hope they dive into that a bit more in the future seasons, especially if they do the whole, you know, enlightened Buddha Rand where he becomes one with his past self and like remembers everything. I think that's going to make for interesting acting opportunities for Yosha, in that he's going to have to like completely embody this, you know, genius, 600-year-old, you know, powerful leader of the world, fighter of the Forces of Light dragon and the Randathor dragon at the same time. I'm really interested to seeing how someone does that, like visually. But yeah, obviously they brought you to Falme, Moiraine. Like she said, do the banner. Like the fact that she didn't figure that out immediately when they were on the shore is a little like, come on, Moiraine, come on. But yeah, there they go. So we'll see what happens. So Biodoman do be in Falme. Yeah, I like that they threw him in there. The fact that he's like stealing stuff from this stall in the middle of the confusion is kind of funny. he looks like a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar here. He's like, whoops, I totally wasn't. I do not be taking anything here, Mistress Cillian. Ooh, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, that was funny. So Lanfear gave him the Quendiar piece, which he then gave to Moiraine. So Lanfear's been kind of setting this up from the beginning. Man, I wonder how deep that goes. Like, did she set up the whole attack on her as well? Didn't seem like it. Like, there was a lot of scenes where it was just her, and like, if that was all orchestrated by her, she was acting for the camera then. So like, that's, you know, that wouldn't make sense. But at least somewhat it was, which is interesting. Or maybe she just sold the Quendiar to him to get money so that she had money in this age, so she didn't have to just murder a whole bunch of people and steal their money. Like, it's easier just to be like, oh, here's all this Quendiar. Give me all your money for it because you think this is, you know, worth something. Yeah, that makes more sense. And here she goes, trying to get rid of the other Forsaken. We'll see how that works out. Probably not well. Though I love this shot of her where she's kind of like looking over her shoulder. You get the shot of that nice earpiece. The ear accessories in the World of the Wheel of Time is just absolutely fantastic. And we have ear cuffs on the outside, ear things on the inside. These serpent, like, just fantastic. Just really the jewelry accessories in this age are just really great. They're awesome, and I like them, and I'm here for all of them. And since we know the Sea Folk are a thing, as from Biodoman and Moiraine in episode 1, where she says the Sea Folk may have perfected the game, but the guy said I invented it. I hope we see some Sea Folk jewelry soon, because their jewelry is awesome. And if just regular people jewelry is this cool looking, I can't wait to see theirs. And sinking the seals to the bottom, the deepest part of the ocean, like, People ask Bile Doman to do that a lot, it would seem. Ooh, and since he's going to be waiting in the town, I wonder if we're going to get the Leelwyn shipless scenes. We'll see, I guess. Probably not, because that was a lot of, like, you know, her whole storyline, while pretty cool, and she's a cool character, and I like the two of them together, you know, easily cut. I mean, having Bile Doman is just like, you know, a fan favorite character, and using him a bit is one thing, but giving him an entire storyline with a love interest and all that is something that they don't really need to do. Well, Ishamael broke the seals. I had other things to attend to. Wipes his hands, dust flies off, and you can even see in some of the shots that he has like a white powder on his hands. Unless he was, you know, powdering his nose in the bathroom, which I doubt. He broke all the seals. Yeah, definitely broke the seals. The fact that there was very little fanfare to that was interesting. Like, I would assume it takes a lot of the one power to break them. Like, maybe Randall reference feeling it or something later, but yeah, seals are definitely broken now. So that means, we need to pay attention for the rest of this episode. Any person we see could be a Forsaken. I gotta pay attention really well. Sarath looks great. I like her, like, pompous royal nobility battle costume she's got going on there. And Guy Roberts' partner there, she's the one who ordered his death, which I think is hilarious. Sarath Sojin getting out of giving some lip to Ishamael before he's like, "Hey, shut your mouth." And you can see the white powder on his hand when he does that. Obviously, they're talking about gentling Rand, and Sarath is like, "Ooh, we get to gentle the dragon. This is going to be great. Oh, we're going to be so popular." So shallow. I think they're playing her correct, because she was always too, I don't know, suave in the books, I think. Though having a villain who's like good at what they do isn't necessarily, you know, a bad thing. Making her a little bit more petulant and stuff like that, seeing as that she's noble, makes us hate her more, I think. And not think like, oh, she's so cool and good at fighting and manipulation. Like, you know, it's more just like, meh, like she fell into her position and like, which is what they want us to feel. And I kind of like that better. So yeah, Donald is great as Matt. And this scene is just fantastic. So like every part of it is great. The lighting, the acting, the music, the set, it's all beautiful. I like how they have him, like, you could see here, like he's jumping all over the room. Like he's like over here, he's over there, he's fighting it, he's giving in, he doesn't know what's going to happen. And as the scene progresses, you could hear in the background, slowly becoming audible, is like a more folksy music away from the eerie kind of sounds that we were getting from like Matt resisting the dagger, or the dagger trying to influence Matt. It's more like, it feels like it's the Two Rivers. It's the Two Rivers speaking to Matt through the world, and him bringing himself back out to fight the influence of the dagger. And as that sound gets louder, he goes for the quarterstaff. He wraps the dagger around the end of the staff, which is a couple of different references here. And now I'm going to say some interesting words, and I promise I didn't make them up. You can Google it and look it up yourself. So in the books, we know Matt is heavily influenced by the story of Odin. He's hung from a tree to gain knowledge. He loses an eye. He fights with a spear. He has ravens. There's a lot of things that he does that are Odin-esque. And spoilers for the final book, he even sits in the sky and sees all and like dictates battles from the sky, which is something that Odin does as well. So the spear is reference to Odin's spear, Gungnir, which looks a lot like Ashendare when you see it. If you look up pictures of Gungnir, a lot of artist interpretations of it will have a spear with a long blade on it, which is more like a halberd, which is what the Ashendare is. So this is more like a spear, since it's only a dagger blade at the end, but still, I think that's what they're trying to, warm us up to with that. The dagger having lightsaber melting door properties is new, and Matt knowing it is interesting, though I guess he had it for a while, so maybe he knew. Also, the dagger just really hurting people a lot when they get stabbed with it now. Like, you hear this guy when he gets stabbed with it. It's like like, you could hear its influence or whatever, its corruption happening. Padan Fain is terrified of it, runs away, calling for the guards. I was hoping we would get, a quarterstaff fight scene here, but that's not a quarterstaff anymore. So still waiting for that. Obviously, he's going to have this dagger. He took this scabbard for it, or the sheath for it was gone when he was doing that. So I'm guessing he pocketed that, and he's gonna have it in the later in season 2. I would guess. So hopefully when they go back to the tower, he goes with them, gets fully cleansed, it gets removed, and we get our scene. That's what I'm really hoping for. Though, just everything with Donald here. He's a fantastic Matt. He sold me already, but this scene where he's pointing the spear at Padan Fain and the way he delivers his lines here, freaking just epic Matt. I love it. And here's Egwene really starting to push against that brutal side of her that was coming out, where she sees the White Cloaks helping the innocent people, and she doesn't want to kill them anymore. She lent into that dark side of her a little bit, but she pushed away from it and stopped. So I hope they play into that more in the future seasons, where, like, this trauma that she's suffered gives her, I don't want her to have PTSD. Like, that's a terrible thing, but depicting that correctly, I think, is important. The trauma of what she suffered plus the aftermath of it, and then her hopefully maybe recovering from it, or, owning it and moving forward, bearing it, health in a healthy way, will be something nice to see play out on screen. Something that Robert Jordan did very well in the books was always not kind of like brushing off trauma that the heroes suffer and just making them like, oh, everything is great, like some books do that will remain nameless. But yeah, I like how they did this here. Again, Moiraine right there. You see her on camera a couple times. Nothing. So really thinking Moiraine's done. So the White Cloaks like marching in here, and people of Falme, raise your weapons, fight with us. Like, that was pretty awesome. You'll also notice that when the trebuchet throws the stone, it hits in the bare spot on the wall where Egwene and Rena were standing. So, well done, Egwene. Well done. Also, how was Rena gonna cut her hands off with that tiny dagger? Like, that's not an easy thing to do through bone. And, yeah. Anyway, not gonna happen, obviously. But the father and son fighting team here is pretty cool. I like how they both are using the axe and like they're fighting together. Like, honestly, like kind of liking the White Cloaks a little bit. Like, they're horrible and like I don't like their stuff, but like when they're on screen, it's pretty cool. Like, their fighting is awesome, and Dane and Jeffrem are just awesome. And the line, like I said, people of Falme, pick up your weapons, fight with us. Like, that was great. Yeah. They're definitely going to kill him for sure. Endearing him to us like this, giving him these epic scenes. Definitely going to die soon. So impersonating the Damane and Suldam didn't really work out that well for Nynaeve, as previously expected. I'm sure having a woman die while kind of bonded in your brain, and it kind of being your fault in more ways than one, in the sense of she bound her and put her there, even though she kind of deserved it. I'm sure Nynaeve is going to feel for that, but also she is holding her in place there. So she has made her defenseless, her carrying, like, there's going to be a lot of layers of guilt once Nynaeve can sit and harp on that. And you kind of see it in the way they depict the scene here. And you could even see it on her face. But speaking of the scene here, the special effects, fantastic. The CG, fantastic. Like, it looks great. Like, trigger warning, it's a little violent, but the images here look really good. Like, the way they depict everything, I think they did a great job. Moiraine, obviously dead. And now we see when a Damane or Suldam die, the collar and bracelet fall off. Double confirmed here when, it rolls off Moiraine. And then we see Chekhov's gun a little bit, where the necklace of the Adam is sitting there. And then the very next scene, we see Rena. So I'm sure that's going on her. Double Adamed is going to be interesting. Double Adamed. Double Adamed. Say that 3 times fast. Double Adamed. Double Adamed. Double Adamed. I kind of want to be double Adamed. Anyway, Yeah, this is going to make for an interesting implication. I don't know how they're going to do that. Probably just going to be like, oh, I have a stronger will, so I'm able to do the things. I don't know. But we'll see. So honestly, right up until this moment, I thought Perrin was blowing the horn because, Matt wasn't there. The horn was with Perrin. All the other stuff that happened throughout this entire season with Perrin and Matt, I 100% thought Perrin was blowing the horn. But then when Matt came running through that fog, I was like, yay, Matt and Perrin are together, and they're going to fight together. And I was like, Matt's blowing the horn. Matt's definitely blowing the horn now. So, yeah. Cool. Veiled Aiel, terrifying and sexy, and yeah. Can't wait to see that. Yeah, just, great all around. Oh my god. I just want to press play and stop talking to you guys, honestly, because the anticipation is palpable to the things that are going to happen. I can't wait. So there we are, double Adam. Not having the you can learn to channel thing also in this makes more sense because who can learn to channel and who can't. It was always a little weird. The fact that they're just making the Suldam just super duper weak in the one power, and then that's who Suldam are, and then Damane are just people that are a little bit stronger than that. Makes more sense, I guess. Though if you could see someone is able to channel, you should be able to see that they can channel. Doesn't matter how strong they are. So it's a little wonky, but I get it. The fact that they double down on you can't hurt your Suldam when Rena tried to punch her, but then Egwene hung her was a little weird as well. If you can't hurt your Suldam, how did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And also just damn dark Egwene coming out here. Yeah, the brutality of what she did here, trigger warning on some of these pictures, but the brutality of what she does here is just huge. And you could see even afterwards, it hits her. She gave into the emotions and didn't probably realize what she was doing. And then afterwards it hit her and she doesn't know how to feel about it. She probably feels good and terrible at the same time. And that is really depicted on her face here. And it's just another trauma, and we'll see how she gets through it in the next seasons and further seasons. She's so she's like, I even hear Rand. And then she turns around. Nope, there he is. So that's going to be fun. Man, Aiel fighting is pretty epic. I like how, the before Perrin was or before Ingtar was one man can hold 50 here. He's like, that won't be necessary. Because 3 Fardaris Mai can hold thousands here. And we're seeing that, just the 3 of them just completely owning them. And Massima, not going to lie, Massima's there too. I think we may get some Bane, Chiad, and Massima love in the, well, maybe not love, but, in the future, because I feel like they're going to be I respect you. You can fight really well, Wetlander. I see some scenes like that in the future, especially how earlier when Avienda was Bane is going to be upset that, you won't have sex with somebody because she probably wants to have sex with you. When she said it, last episode or 2 episodes ago. So I feel they're going to be a little bit more forward with Massima here, since he's, an awesome fighter and probably, single. Again, with the dagger melting things open, Loyal is even of course, when he goes to open it, of course your dagger can melt things. I don't know. Perrin was pretty cool about Rand being alive. He was just oh, okay, Rand's alive. What was he doing? Why? I mean, obviously they're in the middle of a fight, so this isn't the time you ask those questions, but he was pretty chill about it. Yeah. The Damane linking here and shielding Rand, again, a little weird. They can't see him. I don't know. Okay, whatever. I mean, with Ishamael's help, with the signal, I guess. The top of that tower is a big place, though. Aiming the shield right at Rand without being able to see him at all from that far away, at that angle. Okay. They pushed again. The Ishamael and Lucerne were friends here. You're going to turn your friends to the dark like you did with me. And then they cut right to Matt after that, which was poignant. The talking about doing this over and over again with all our different lives and doing it again, if it doesn't work this time, is very reminiscent to the way Balzaman and Ishamael talked in the books as well about that. It's different in the sense of he's not just saying like, we've done this a million times. He's saying, well, I guess it doesn't work this time. I'll try again next time. Like, that is more poignant, I think, in that he's kind of like, it makes Rand like, oh my God, he's perfectly fine with killing me. He doesn't need me alive to do this. He'll just wait and do it again because he's immortal. Like, it adds that level of like, you know, severity to the situation. Like you would think like, oh, the bad guy needs me, so he won't kill me. But in this sense, he is perfectly fine. He'll just wait another 3,000 years for you to get born again. Like, it's not a big deal for him. So yeah. Also, the fact that everyone's just okay with the dagger's corruption just kind of spreading over the box there, and then, you know, no reference to it at all. Little odd. I'm not really too worried about Loial, Perrin, and the three maidens, especially now that they have Dane backing them up. I think they'll be fine. Hopefully Valda doesn't show up. Though also you could see in the scene when Matt is running away from them, they really dressed up that horn like a lot. Like, you could see how bright it is comparatively to everything else. Like I feel like they are making it like, look at it, like it's emitting its own light almost. That's how powerful or holy or special it is. That's the feeling I got, at least. So here's the example of Nynaeve not being able to channel. And you would think she'd be mad, but she looks around. She's terrified. She's never been in a battle like this before. Yeah, she's been in a couple of fights, like, you know, the one in the forest with Alana and them in season 1. But this is a war. This is battle. And there's a lot of innocents around that are getting hurt. Like, it's a lot different than when she was there. It was very there. The line between the forces of good and bad in that situation were clear. The Dragonsworn are bad, here to free Logain. The Aes Sedai are good. And here it's blurry. Like, the White Cloaks, they don't like them, while at the same time they're protecting the people. The Seanchan they hate, and they're dressed up as them, and Elaine is shot, and there's people dying left and right. The Damane that died, or the Suldam that died when Nynaeve was bound to her, she's just all messed up. She was not prepared for this. Elaine, on the other hand, is a little bit more collected. She's been raised since birth for stuff like this. I'm sure maybe her mother has even brought her to fields of battle before, like skirmishes with, you know, Aradoman and stuff like that. But yeah, so like her not being able to channel here it makes sense. And this is going to be another one of those instances that drives her into really trying to learn in the future. Also, still no Rima, still sad. The goodest boy died. I'm so sad right now. That was really hard to watch. That was really, really hard to watch. I won't show the bloody parts, but yeah, I mean, you can see it here. This is when Perrin becomes fully realized wolfkin, as we like to call it in the fandom. Wow, that was powerful. That was a powerful scene. I mean, I don't think I got as upset when Uno died. No, that's not true. I was pretty upset when Uno died. Jeffrem is dead. Very, very dead. Perrin gave in to the animal here. Dane saw that. That's going to shape their relationship going forward for a while. So, spoiler for the final books and a little Wheel of Time fun fact. There's a cut scene from A Memory of Light that came out in, I want to say Unfettered, it was called, a anthology series that Brandon was a part of, where he put this cut Wheel of Time story arc or scene from the final book, where Perrin and a group of the Two Riversmen and a couple of Aes Sedai, I think Kin maybe, and Dane Bornhold, Galad, and a group of White Cloaks go into the Ways to seal way gates. They fight Red Veiled Aiel, channeling one power, Trollocs, evading magician, all that kind of stuff. That'd be cool if we got to see that, though, since I'm still 100% convinced Dane Bornhold is going to be given the redeemable White Cloak story arc that Galad has in the books. But yeah, man, the scene when Hopper died was so powerful. The music, the sound, the images of him jumping. My heart, man. Like, that was so hard to watch. Well done, though. Really well done. Marcus, well done. Just whatever puppy that is, did a great job. It was a little odd that Jeffrem was just like, Valda, fight with me. And then he just got up and left Perrin there, but whatever. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was that was amazing. Oh my God. Having that right after the Hopper scene is such an emotional roller coaster. Oh my God. I have chills everywhere. Everywhere is chilled and goose fleshed. Amazing. That was so cool. All the heroes are amazing. Arthur Hawkwing looked really cool. He looks exactly like the guy from the Origins episodes from season 1 that played Aemon a little bit. Maybe it's Aemon and not Arthur Hawkwing. I don't know. But wow, so good. No, it's Arthur Hawkwing. He has a hawk helmet, definitely. Uno is a hero. And so is Matt. And so is probably everybody they zoomed in on right when he blew the horn. Everybody. Elaine, Nynaeve, Rand, Egwene, Perrin, him, they're all heroes of the horn. It makes so much sense. I've been saying that for years. I've been saying that for 20 years. They're all heroes of the horn. I'm sure of it. That was amazing. I don't think this is going to be him remembering his whole thing, like his memories of all the battle stuff. I don't think that's what this is. I think this is him just remembering the bit about the hero stuff, and like it'll fade once the horn stops. But like, wow, that was epic. And Uno being there was so awesome. Oh my God. And he cursed. He said feckin'. Guy Roberts. I'm so happy. I was so sad when he died. And this, I feel like, is the perfect way to bring him in. And he's beside Brigitte. So, Gaidel Kane was a cool character, but, he barely he has like 2 lines and he's hardly referenced, and it's just her love interest. Combining the Gaidel Kane idea with Uno here is epic, maybe. Like, he's ugly and, but he's awesome and, gruff and, foul-mouthed, and the perfect compliment for Brigitte. Like, they even have like a little thing in the books, like a little bit. So like, this is perfect. I love it. Oh my God. Rafe, Sarah, directors, writers, everybody, just Rami, actor. Wow. I'm loving it. I love it so much. This is so far, honestly, I think the way this horn is working right now and visually, like, I'm liking it better than in the book. Like, it was cool in the book, but like this, it's just, oh my God, the feels, I have all the feels. So good. And then right to Perrin murdering the crap out of Jeffrem again. So angry. Look at his face. Oh yeah. And then it's time to toss the dice. Oh my God. It was so good, man. Oh my God. Donald Flynn is Matt Cawthon. If anyone says any different, you could fight me. Like, literally fight me. Oh, so good. So good. I mean, like, I'm so torn right now between, like, I want to cry and laugh at the same time for both happy and sad reasons. Like, Hopper's dead. Perrin's very sad. They killed Jeffrem. Dane's angry. He keeps calling him Two Rivers, which I think is gonna push Dane Bornhold to the Two Rivers soon, because he knows very little about Perrin, other than maybe he overheard Loial just say his name, and he's from the Two Rivers. So yeah, I think we're gonna be getting Dane unhappy with people from the Two Rivers in future seasons. But Guy Roberts, like, the pure unadulterated joy on his face in these fighting scenes, you could feel that Guy Roberts was actually like super excited and super happy to be participating in this again and to be a hero of the horn. For those who don't know, Guy Roberts is a huge Wheel of Time fan. Like, he's been a Wheel of Time fan for a very long time. So he fully understands the job here, and he fully understands what being a hero of the horn and being Uno meant for himself and for the fandom and just in general within the world. And you could see it here. This is so good. I will die on this hill and I'll fight anybody. The depiction of the heroes in this show and the way the horn works and them here, I like it better than the books. I like it better. I would have liked the scene of like the 3 of the Ta'veren and Arthur Hawkwing and them having that little conversation. That was a fun little conversation. But what we got here was epic. And the rest of it, leaps and bounds. Just, I love it. I absolutely love it. It is so awesome. How's it going to work in the future? Like the idea of, the Heroes of the Horn, of it being like a small battalion turning the tide of the battle makes so much more sense than just somehow this ethereal fog with a few silhouettes of people in the front of it pushing against, this is so much cooler. The way they're jumping around the battle, they kind of look like the evil characters from that one wizard story about kids that learn magic that I don't want to talk about because that woman is a TERF and I don't like her. When they jump around and fly around. But to all the haters that got pissed when Perrin had the shield, this is that scene. You and you're dumb and I don't care. Like, oh, this is that famous scene where Perrin fought with the shield. I don't care. I don't care. If you were mad when Perrin got a shield, I don't care. Like, this scene was awesome. You bloody surprised I'm a hero of the horn? Like, it's so good. It's so good. It's just so good. I love it so much. Wow. Wow. That was a season finale. That was one of the best season finales to a show I've ever seen. I think people are going to be talking about this for a while. I'm sure there's going to be an entire side of the fandom that is like, man, ain't a fight in the sky. That was dumb. I'm sorry. Just them somehow being projected into the sky was dumb. I didn't like it when it happened. I never understood it. It never happened again. I didn't like it. I didn't like it when they did that. This is so much more poignant and it's so awesome. Like, how did Moiraine create a giant fire dragon is one thing, but it's just fire and making it big and shaped. Why not? Sure. And I'm speechless. I'm literally speechless to how much I loved this ending. Is Ishamael dead? I don't know. We set the precedent of him doing illusions, though I really do think he might have actually died there. And they may do the Moiraine thing later. Though at the very least, I think he may be actually dead and gone. The idea that they said the other Forsaken are more dangerous and we know they're loose. But yeah, that scene was great. The people of Falme are all excited. The dragon looked really cool. The whole group is there. All the heroes of the Horn of today. Just, it's so good. It was so good. And I will die on the hill. I'll argue with anyone who wants to argue with me. I like this better than the way the books did it, in the sense of the fighting in the sky, the battle between him and Ishamael. I totally called it the wound that won't heal is from the dagger here. I called it 2 episodes ago that's what it was going to be. And it is. The idea that it was just Ishamael's staff touching him. Why that doesn't make any sense. This is so much better. I like it so much better. The showrunners and the writers here and the actors have the opportunity to have the entire book series in front of them and how things worked later in the series and throughout the entire series, as opposed to just the first 2 books available to them, where Robert Jordan hadn't created it yet, hadn't thought of it yet. So the fact that they're able to make it more in line with the rules of the One Power and the rules of this universe, with the entirety of it, having all of it laid out in front of them, is better in my opinion. And I liked it. And then we get Lanfear with a smile on her face walking down this hallway here, and she's in for a surprise. Wow, that was quite an epilogue. Mo Gideon is terrifying. So the idea of Lanfear and Ishamael being close to the dragon and his friends, his best friends, really is evident in the way they treat them. Obviously, Lanfear was in love with him. But we thought Lanfear was a sociopath, and she is, but Mo Gideon, wow. Also, this is the perfect example of, yes, Lanfear may be stronger than her, but when you give Mo Gideon time to prepare, kind of like Batman, when you give her time to prepare, the spider, softly from the shadows, can set traps and weave her webs, and it's exactly what she did here. It was a great analogy. It was a great thing that they had, the idea of the webs, and that was powerful. It seems all 6 seals are broken. Bile Doman's going to be upset, but also maybe happy because now he doesn't have to get rid of them, and she may give them to him. Probably not. Yeah, this is terrifying. The fact that she's so scared, like it's evident on her face how scared she is of them being out, and the fact that she says, "Light help you, Randalthor," like, wow. I am so excited for season 3. Like, this was a freaking fantastic finale. Like, this was a good season finale just for television shows. Like, it's going to be up there as like a great example of a great season finale. Like, I'm not saying it's like one of the greatest of all times or anything, but like it's in the top of great season finale. Just well done all around. I'm worried for Rand. The fact that she said you're to stay away from him definitely sounded like an order from the Dark One. They're ours now, all 5 of them. That's going to be pretty bad for them, probably. But wow, so good. Let us know what you think. Put it in the comments below. Thank you for hanging out with me. This was an amazing episode. So well done. Kudos to everybody. I'm so happy that the WGA strike is over. Hopefully SAG-AFTRA will be done soon as well, and they'll win just like WGA did. And we can start talking to some of these actors and showrunners and directors and writers and stuff like that, so that we can tell them how much we loved this thing and they can interact with us, because it was truly fantastic. Just amazing all around. So good. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. And I can't wait for season 3. What do you all think? What are we going to get in season 3? Personally, I think it's going to be more Aiel focused, but we'll see. Until then, though, I hope you always find water and shade on the slopes of Dragonmount.
And that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, please subscribe, hit the like button, give us a thumbs up, or leave us a comment. We love comments, especially positive ones. And if you have any friends that are interested in the Wheel of Time, please share some of our videos with them. And as always, a huge thank you to our sponsor, Tor Books, as well as our amazing Patreon community. And if you are interested in learning about how more of this show was made or some Wheel of Time insights, you too can become a member of the Patreon community. And as always, follow us on Dragonmount with social media. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.